Welcome back, dear friends, to our sanctuary of the hidden and the profound. Tonight, as you prepare for deep sleep, we are entering a vault of whispers and water. This is a sleep story designed for deep relaxation and historical immersion. This is a bedtime story for the restless, a journey into the architectural ghost of India. Settle into your blankets, let the weight of the day fade as we unlock Vault 22. Imagine, if you will, walking through the cool, silent corridors of our museum. The air here is still, smelling faintly of sandalwood, rain-drenched earth, and the sweet, lingering scent of midnight jasmine. We are standing before a door of dark, weathered teakwood. In the center of the vault, resting on a pedestal of obsidian, is a single, jagged shard of black marble. It is cool to the touch, and so dark that it seems to swallow the light of the room. This fragment is the only evidence of a dream that was never fully realized, or perhaps a masterpiece that was erased from history. Tonight, we are traveling to the banks of the Yamuna, river in the 17th century. We are going to explore the legend of the Shadow Tomb, the phantom twin of the Taj Mahal. Let us begin our meditation on the Black Taj. 1. The White Fire, the memory of Mumtaz Mahal. To understand the shadow, we must first look at the light. Imagine the year 1631 in the city of Agra. The heat of the Indian sun is heavy and gold, pressing down on the bustling markets and the red sandstone walls of the fort. It is a world of constant motion, the cry of the spice merchants, the heavy tread of elephants, and the shimmering haze of the midday sun. But inside the heart of the emperor, Shah Jahan, there is only a cold, vast silence. His beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal, has died. Shah Jahan was a man of precision and grand visions, but grief is a landscape without a map. He decided to build a tomb that would serve as a mirror of paradise on earth. He gathered 20,000 workmen, stonecutters from Bukhara, calligraphers from Syria, and gardeners from the high valleys of Persia. For 22 years, the sound of the chisel was the heartbeat of the city. Imagine that sound now. Tink, 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 a rhythmic, metallic song echoing across the river. Thousands of elephants dragged blocks of pure white marble from the quarries of Makrana, 300 miles away. Think of that white stone. It is not just a color, it is a texture. This marble is unique because it is translucent. It allows the light to enter the surface of the stone before reflecting it back. It doesn't just sit in the sun, it glows with an inner fire. As you relax into your pillows, imagine your own mind becoming as clear and bright as that white marble. The Taj Mahal rises in your imagination, perfect, symmetrical, and glowing in the moonlight. It is a monument to a love that refused to end. But every light casts a shadow, and as the white tomb was finished, the emperor's gaze shifted across the dark waters of the river. 2. The river Yamuna, the mirror of the sky. The Yamuna River is the soul of this story. It is the boundary between the world we know and the world of the spirit. Imagine the river at midnight. The water is slow and deep, moving with a heavy, silent grace. It is the color of ink, reflecting the stars like diamonds scattered on a black velvet cloth. Along the banks, the reeds sway softly in the evening breeze, a sound like a long, slow exhale. The Persians and the Mughals believed that water was the bridge between the physical world and the spiritual world. A building was never just a building, it was a reflection. Shah Jahan built the white Taj Mahal on the southern bank, but he looked at the northern bank, the Mehtab Bagh, or the Moonlight Garden, and he saw a void. Legend tells us that he intended to build a second tomb there, a twin, an identical structure, but carved entirely from black marble. The white tomb was for his wife, the moon. The black tomb would be for himself, the shadow. They would be linked by a bridge of silver, spanning the dark water like a frozen breath. Imagine that bridge now. It is narrow and elegant, arching over the river in a perfect curve. As you breathe in and out, feel yourself walking across that silver bridge. Below you, the Yamuna flows in total silence. To your left, the white fire of the Taj. To your right, the growing silhouette of the shadow tomb. You are suspended between the light and the dark. You are safe. You are balanced. You are drifting with the current of the river. 3. The architecture of the night, the black marble. What would the Black Taj have felt like? To stand before a structure so massive, yet so dark that it seems to be made of solidified night? White marble reflects the sun. It is radiant and extroverted. But black marble is interior. It is a stone of secrets and deep contemplation. Imagine the blocks of black stone arriving at the riverbank. They are heavy and dense, smelling of minerals and deep earth. When polished, the black marble would have acted as a dark mirror. You wouldn't just see the building, you would see the world reflected back at you in a somber, muted glow. You would see the white Taj Mahal across the water, its reflection dancing in the black stone of its twin. The Black Taj was designed to be the negative space of the White Taj. Where the white tomb had calligraphy in black jasper, the black tomb would have had calligraphy in white jade. Where the white tomb had floral inlays of carnelian and lapis, the black tomb would have used mother of pearl and silver. It was a mathematical dream of opposites, a conversation between the sun and the moon. Think of that black stone now. It is heavy, but it is not oppressive. It is like the darkness behind your closed eyelids. It is a space of infinite potential. You don't need to see the details tonight. You only need to feel the weight of the stone. It is grounding you. It is pulling you down into a deep, heavy sleep. The shadow tomb is rising around you, a sanctuary of midnight stone. 4. The Moonlight Garden, Mehtab Bagh. On the northern bank of the river, there is a place where the grass grows tall and the air is filled with the scent of wild herbs and ancient dust. This is the Mehtab Bagh. Shah Jahan designed this garden specifically to view the Taj Mahal by the light of the moon. He planted white flowers that only bloomed at night, night-blooming jasmine, lilies, and pale roses that glowed like ghosts in the dark. These flowers were chosen because their scent becomes stronger in the cool night air, creating an invisible architecture of perfume. Imagine walking through this garden now. The ground is soft beneath your feet. The air is cool and carries the mist from the river. In the center of the garden, there is a large octagonal pool. When the moon is full, it reflects perfectly in the water, and if you stand at the right angle, the Taj Mahal appears to be floating in the center of the pool. This is where the legend of the Black Taj begins. Some say that there was never intended to be a second building at all. They say that the Black Taj was simply the reflection of the white one in the dark waters of the pool and the river. They say the emperor was building a monument made of light and shadow rather than stone. Whether it was stone or whether it was light, the feeling was the same. It was the desire for symmetry. The human mind craves balance. It craves a partner for every lonely thing. As you watch the reflection in the pool of your mind, let the ripples fade. The water is becoming still. The moon is steady. You are finding your own symmetry. Your breath is the tide, coming in and going out. 5. The Fall of the Sun, Aurangzeb. But history is rarely as perfect as architecture. As the foundations for the northern bank were being laid, the sun began to set on Shah Jahan's reign. His son, Aurangzeb, was a man of cold iron and strict rules. He did not believe in mirrors of paradise. He saw the Black Taj as a waste of the empire's treasury, a vanity project for a father who had lost himself in grief. In 1658, Aurangzeb seized power. He imprisoned his father in the Agra fort, just a few miles down the river. Imagine Shah Jahan standing on a balcony of the Red Fort. He is an old man now. He is no longer the king of kings. He is a prisoner in his own palace. For 8 long years, he lived in a room called the Musaman Burj, an octagonal tower made of white marble and inlaid with precious stones. From his window, he could look out across the curve of the river. He could see the white Taj Mahal shimmering in the heat, and he could see the empty, overgrown space of the Mehtab Bagh on the other side. The Black Taj would never be built. The silver bridge would never exist. Think of the patience of those 8 years, the slow passing of the seasons, the monsoon rains washing the dust from the marble, the long, lonely nights. Shah Jahan died looking at his creation, a man who lived in the space between the dream and the reality. You are safe in your room tonight. You are not a prisoner. You are the master of your own dreams. You can finish the Black Taj in your mind, where no emperor can stop you. 6. The Archaeology of a Ghost, Jean-Baptiste Tavernier. How do we know the legend is true? The story of the Black Taj comes to us from a French jeweler and traveler named Jean-Baptiste Tavernier. He visited Agra in 1665, while Shah Jahan was still alive in his prison tower. Tavernier wrote in his journals that the emperor had begun to build his own tomb on the opposite side of the river. But the work was interrupted by the war between his sons. He described the foundations being laid and the black marble being gathered. For centuries, historians dismissed this as a myth. They said Tavernier had simply listened to local gossip. But in the 1990s, archaeologists began to dig in the Bag. They found something. They found massive foundations. They found traces of a wall. They found a complex water system designed to feed a second monumental structure. And most intriguingly, they found pieces of dark stone. But as they cleaned the stones, the mystery changed. The black marble was actually white marble that had turned black over time, stained by the minerals in the mud. Does this disprove the legend? Or does it mean the foundations were as far as the dream ever got? Imagine the archaeologists standing in the mud, holding those stained stones, finding a fragment of the dream. It doesn't matter if the building was never finished. The intention is still etched into the ground. As you relax, think of the foundations of your own life. You have built so much. You have intended so much beauty. Tonight, you can let the digging stop. The ground is solid. The secrets are safe. 7. The physics of a dream, the silver bridge. As we walk deeper into the vault, we find a small, intricate model of the two tombs, joined by a bridge as thin as a needle. This is the centerpiece of the legend. Shah Jahan did not just want two separate buildings. He wanted a unified whole. He wanted to bridge the gap between the living and the dead, between the white day and the black night. According to the stories told by the locals in Agra, this bridge was to be made of solid silver. Imagine the sheer audacity of that vision. A silver span arching over the Yamuna, shimmering under the moon, wide enough for a royal procession, but delicate enough to look like a streak of lightning frozen in the air. From an engineering perspective, a silver bridge of that size would have been an impossible weight, a fortune that even the Mughal Empire might have struggled to bear. But in the architecture of the mind, it makes perfect sense. The bridge is the connection. It is the way across. As you relax, imagine yourself standing at the very center of that silver bridge. Below you, the river is a dark, whispering void. Behind you, the white Taj is a pale ghost. Ahead of you, the black marble of the shadow tomb is a solid wall of night. You are the link between them. You are the point where the light and the shadow meet. Feel the cool metallic surface of the bridge beneath your feet. It is steady. It is strong. You can stay here as long as you like, suspended in the perfect balance of the universe. 8. The Shadow Garden, a sensory walk through Bag. Let us step off the bridge and into the garden on the northern bank, the Bag. In the 17th century, This was not a place of ruins. It was a sensory masterpiece designed for the nighttime. The Mughals were obsessed with nocturnal beauty. They knew that flowers smell differently in the cool air of the night, and that certain colors only come alive under the stars. Imagine the scent of this place. It is a heavy, floral perfume. There are thousands of night-blooming jasmine bushes, their tiny white petals opening as the sun goes down. There is the sweet, thick aroma of lilies and the sharp, fresh scent of crushed mint underfoot. The water in the channels here does not move in a rush. It moves in a slow, rhythmic crawl. The gardens were designed with matabi, elevated stone platforms where the emperor would sit. From here, you wouldn't see the Taj Mahal directly. You would see it reflected in the series of pools laid out before you. The reflection in the water was always darker, more mysterious than the building itself. This is the true shadow tomb. It was an architecture of the reflection. Think of those pools now. They are perfectly still. They are like mirrors of dark glass. As you watch the reflection of the white tomb in the water, let your own thoughts become just as still. The ripples are smoothing out. The world is becoming a perfect, symmetrical mirror. You are breathing in the jasmine. You are breathing out the day. You are part of the garden of the moon. 9. The violation of symmetry, the broken grave. But there is a tragedy hidden inside the white Taj Mahal, a secret that suggests the Black Taj was a necessity that was never fulfilled. When you enter the main chamber of the Taj Mahal, you are struck by the perfection. Every tile, every inlay, every arch is perfectly mirrored on the opposite side. It is the most symmetrical building on earth. Except for one thing. The cenotaph of Mumtaz Mahal sits exactly in the center, directly under the dome. It is the heart of the building. But next to it, off to one side, is a second, larger cenotaph. This is the grave of Shah Jahan. His presence there breaks the symmetry. It is the only imperfect thing in the entire complex. Historians believe that Aurangzeb, in his cold practicality, simply buried his father next to his mother because it was the easiest thing to do. But for those who believe the legend, this lopsided burial is proof of a broken plan. Shah Jahan was never meant to be inside the White Tomb. He was meant to be across the river, in his own dark sanctuary, maintaining the cosmic balance of the two banks. By burying him in the White Taj, the symmetry was violated forever. Think of that asymmetry now. It is a reminder that even our greatest plans can be interrupted by the reality of life. But there is a strange comfort in that imperfection. It makes the cold marble feel human. It tells us that love is sometimes messy, and that even a king of kings can end up somewhere he didn't intend to be. As you drift towards sleep, accept the off-center parts of your own life. You don't need to be perfectly symmetrical to be beautiful. You are resting, even in the imbalance. 10. The modern excavation, finding the ghost. The legend of the shadow tomb refused to die, even as the centuries piled up like dust on the riverbank. In 1994, the Archaeological Survey of India decided to solve the mystery once and for all. they began a massive excavation of the Mehtab Bog. They cleared away the silt left behind by centuries of river floods. They found the foundations of a massive wall over 700 feet long. They found an enormous octagonal pond, and they found thousands of fragments of stone. At first, the workers shouted in excitement. The stones were black. But as the scientists cleaned them in the laboratories, the truth emerged. The stones were not black marble from some distant quarry. They were pieces of white marble that had been buried in the damp, muddy earth for 300 years. The minerals in the soil had stained them, turning them into a deep charcoal gray. Does this disprove the legend? Not necessarily. It only proves that the building was never completed. Some believe these were templates, stones meant to be replaced by true black marble later. Others believe the Black Taj was always meant to be a garden made of shadow and reflection rather than stone and mortar. Imagine the archaeologists standing in the mud, holding those stained stones. They were holding a ghost, a fragment of an idea that almost changed the skyline of the world. Tonight, you can hold that idea in your mind. It doesn't need to be made of real marble to be powerful. The intention is still there, vibrating in the air across the river. You are digging into the soft earth of your own memory, finding the beautiful things you intended to build. They are safe. They are yours. 11. The final rest, the Emperor's Night. We return now to the Musamman Burj, the white marble tower in the Agra fort where the old emperor spent his final nights. Imagine the silence of that room. The walls are inlaid with flowers made of carnelian and jade, but the room is empty of sound. Shah Jahan is lying by the window. The fever is taking him. He is 74 years old. He watches the moon rise over the Yamuna. He sees the Taj Mahal turn from a yellow gold to a ghostly silver white. He looks at the dark space on the other side of the river, the space where his own tomb should have been. In his final moments, perhaps he realized that he didn't need the black marble. The night itself was his tomb. The darkness of the river, the shadows of the cypress trees, the silence of the moon. This was the Black Taj. He had built a monument so powerful that even its absence was a presence. He died in the arms of his daughter, Jahanara, his eyes fixed on the reflection in the water. Think of that final vision, the peace of a man who has finished his work, even if the world saw it as incomplete. As you prepare for the final surrender into sleep, look at your own creations. You have built a life. You have loved. You have dreamed. The symmetry of your journey is complete, whether the stones are white or black. 12. Closing the vault, the shadow and the light. It is time to leave the banks of the Yamuna and return to the silence of our museum. We walk back past the shard of obsidian on its pedestal. It is still cool. It is still dark. It is the seed of a legend that refuses to fade. We step through the teakwood doors of Vault 22. The air of India, the jasmine, the river mist, the smell of sandalwood stays behind. We hear the heavy, rhythmic thud of the door closing, sealing the mystery once more. The corridor of the museum is dark. The white light of the cathedrals and the gold of the amber room are distant memories. Here, in the shadow of the Taj, there is only the perfect quiet. The shadow tomb is not a place of sadness. It is a place of rest. It is the cool side of the pillow. It is the darkness that allows the stars to shine. It is the silence that follows the song. As you feel the heavy, comforting weight of your blankets, imagine the river flowing outside your window. The Yamuna is carrying away the day. The silver bridge is waiting for you in your dreams. You are the emperor of this night. You are the architect of this peace. And so, dear friends, we leave the shadow tomb and return to the world of the present. We carry the symmetry within us, the dark water, the white marble, and the silent, rhythmic pulse of the Mughal night. The Black Taj has taught us that even what is unseen can be beautiful. It has shown us that the shadows are just as important as the light. As you drift off, feel the midnight stones surrounding you. You are part of a long, beautiful, and eternal history. Sleep well, dear friends, and find rest in the heart of the shadow tomb. Good night.